Well, you worked all week and you're ready to let go. Let me tell you, friend, believe me when I say I know. It always feels like we're punching in. Well, I'm glad you stopped by. The fun is about to begin. You paid good money at the door and get ready for a real good show. If you want to have a real good time with me tonight, you gotta move like crazy, dancing in the pale moonlight. We can all get down, spin inside out, I'm telling you. If you really want to groove, you gotta make a move.
Well, we're excited to be here in Lincoln, Nebraska at the Capitol Cigar Lounge with Tony Goins. And Tony and I met, it's been a few years now, I guess.
Yeah, 2019.
2019, was it? Now,
Yeah.
You remember everything.
I do. I try to.
I don't know who remembers more, you or the governor. I swear. I can never forget to do anything because both you guys remember every conversation and every detail. So keeps us all accountable, you know.
That's right.
Yeah, so I think, we met, we had some Japanese company coming to Nebraska looking to set up their U.S. operations, manufacturing and everything here in Nebraska. And we've had the opportunity to engage on a lot of projects, so, between the U.S. and Japan and other economic development things. And I was really honored that you came to the premiere of our movie, My Corona, and really
that was so much
appreciate
fun.
that.
It was so much fun, Riley.
I was there.
Yeah.
That's true. You were there.
I was there. Yep.
Sure was.
Yeah, and I've always enjoyed seeing you, and before meeting you, I remember there was kind of this legendary Tony guy that everybody would talk about, and when we actually. We actually had the chance to meet. It was kind of right away. I was like, okay, I get why this guy's got the reputation he has.
I just like to work hard and have fun.
Yeah. So I'd like to explore today kind of you're a transplant to Nebraska, but you've probably become one of the greatest proponents for the state of Nebraska. Yeah. And are doing a lot of great things for Nebraska, and a lot of exciting stuff's happened since you got here. I was wondering if you could kind of walk us through your journey. How'd you end up here in Nebraska? Well, and where'd you start, and kind of what was your pathway to get here?
Well, I won't go all the way back to the beginning, but I'll just share a snippet of how I ended up here in Nebraska. I mean, I've been in the banking industry for over 30 years. Before then, I served in the Marine Corps, but my last banking assignment was with J.P. Morgan Chase before I moved here. Okay. And amazingly enough, I received a phone call from an executive recruiter about a job here, a career opportunity here in Nebraska. There was a bank here that had moved from about $300 million about 20-something odd years ago, and it had grown about $4.5 billion. And there were some challenges from a regulatory standpoint, so they wanted someone that had experience in working through regulatory remediations and things that happened during the financial crisis. And during that time, I was in New York City, so I had experience in that particular arena. And I remember when the executive recruiter framed the opportunity, it was to be the chief operating officer for the bank. And I said, man, this sounds like a great opportunity. I said, but okay, so where is it located? He said, well, that's the downside of the conversation. Said, downside? He said, the job's in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I said, listen, man, I've lived in 9 states and 12 cities. I've never been in Nebraska. And I said, I don't think I have a desire to go to Nebraska. Yeah. And he says, well, Tony, he says, you got to trust me on this one. Just go as a courtesy. You don't have to take the job, but these are some folks you want to meet. So just go as a courtesy. And I remember I said to Kim, who was my fiance at the time, I said, listen, I'm going to go down here and check this job out in Nebraska, but don't worry, I'm not taking it. I'm just going to explore. So I got here in May of 2014. Okay. And what I remember most about my first day in this state was just how kind people were. And I met a lot of people that were very influential in business and banking and had tons of accolades, and I had done research on them before. And they were just some of the nicest people, but extremely smart, very, very smart. You could tell the intellectual capacity and capabilities was right there with everybody there I had dealt with in New York City and some of the larger cities. But they just had a different disposition. And so then I started to go through the interview process, and it was, you know, really almost like reliving some of the things I'd seen before. So I had a high level of confidence that I could come in and learn, but also make an impact. So at the end of the interview, I called Kim and I said, I don't know what it is, but it's something special about this place. She said, are you kidding me? We're not going to move to Nebraska, are we? And I said, well, I think we're going to pray about it and we're going to see how it works out. So, not long after, the bank made me an offer, and I accepted. And I moved here. My first day here was August the 14th in 2014.
Okay.
And through relationships, I didn't know anybody here. I had no contacts. I didn't know anybody here. I'd never been here. So a young man that I mentored that played in the NFL for 13 years, Steven Jackson, I called Steven. I said, Steven, I'm moving to Nebraska and I don't know anybody. And he says, hold on for a minute. So he called. He says, I know somebody that knows a lot about Nebraska. So he made a phone call, and it was to a guy named Adamaka Sue.
Nice.
And so Sue had a good friend that he had worked with and done a lot of business with named Matt Hickey.
Okay.
And Matt Hickey knew a guy named Tim Clare.
Oh, okay, that's how you connected Tim. I knew Tim was an early contact.
That's right.
Okay.
So we ended up on a call, and Tim Clare says, meet me at Blue Sushi. So I arrive in Nebraska. I drive to Blue Sushi down in the Haymarket.
Yep.
And there's a Tim Clare, and this guy embraces me like he's known me forever. I said, how incredible is this? And then he says, Matt Hickey was with him. Then he said, hold on for a minute. He makes a phone call, and in walks Coach Bo Pelini.
Oh, my gosh.
And that was my welcoming committee. And not long after, Tim and a guy named Brad Correll did a lunch reception for me on the top floor of the Nebraska Club. And literally every CEO of every major firm in the city showed up at that reception.
Wow.
And what I remember most about it was I sent the list to Kim, and she Google searched all of them, and they were very prominent people. And each one of them, when they did their introductions, they never said, I'm the CEO, I'm the president. My good friend, God rest her soul, Joanne Martin, she said, I'm Joanne Martin, I'm with Emeritus. You know, Jeff Norhook said, I'm Jeff Norhook, I'm with Nelnet. They never said their title. And that was just amazing to me. And so I you know, and they didn't ask me for any money. So it wasn't like no campaign or something, you know. And I went back to the office after the reception. I did a handwritten note to all 30 people that was at the reception. And Kim and I ended up having dinner with all 30 people over the course of about a year.
Really?
Wow.
We did. And they all became our friends, and then we joined the Lincoln Country Club at the behest of Tim Clare. And the rest is history, you know. And the wonderful thing about people here in Nebraska is they will give you their cell phone number.
They will.
Prominent people will really give you the cell phone number. Like, try to get the cell phone number of a prominent person in New York. They will give you the admin cell phone number, who will give you her assistant's cell phone number.
They probably give the admin's email address, but not their direct.
No, that's right. So, you know, the wonderful part about Nebraska really is accessibility. Like, people of prominence will have a cup of coffee with you, or they will give you their cell phone number, and they will actually answer their cell phone, and they will actually keep an appointment. In other cities, the first time you get an appointment with a prominent person, you always expect the appointment to be canceled or changed. The first one. Kirk, you know what I'm talking about.
No, I've lived a lot of places.
Right. The first one is always canceled or rescheduled. Here in Nebraska, the first one is always kept.
Very true.
So I started just noticing these nuanced differences. But the people that I would meet were just extremely bright and extremely brilliant. But they didn't have the sense of arrogance. They had a sense of humility that was very refreshing. And so I coined a term called sneaky smart.
That sounds about right.
They're sneaky smart. You know, they don't have this big presence.
Yeah.
But when you start the negotiations, oh, you're in trouble. You're in a lot of trouble. Because they know how to win.
Yeah.
And that's
it's not going to be a combative, negotiation.
No, it won't be combative.
It will be
They'll just outsmart you, and you won't even know you got outsmarted. And they'll be smiling. They won't raise their voice. All of a sudden, deal is done.
That's awesome.
So that's my journey to Nebraska. We ended up having to sell the bank. We sold the bank in September of 2017, and I left the bank in May of 2018. And not long after Governor Pete Ricketts, I did a small stint with a good friend of mine, Mark LeBaron, who owns a company called Lincoln Industries.
Okay.
And so I worked with Mark and helped to start his, lead his branded products division, which was kind of a different shift for me from going to banking to manufacturing, but the principles of leadership and getting things done, execution, operation, all that's the same. And then not long after, Governor Ricketts called and asked me to join his cabinet and lead the Department of Economic Development for the great state of Nebraska.
Nice. Hey, Riley here. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Make a Move podcast. For more content, check us out on all major social media platforms and makeamovepodcast.com. Until next time, get off your butt.